Feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. Feelings are not facts. Listen, all of the self-help and relationship advice in the whole world about feelings doesn't change the fact that sometimes you just feel uncomfortable feelings. I know, because last week I made a video all about how there's no such thing as good feelings or bad feelings, and how all feelings can teach you something useful and how you can use that to make better decisions and have healthier relationships, and that's all well and good and true. And then I felt some really shitty feelings. Yeah, go figure. So here's what I did to cope, and here are 7 things that you might do to help you deal with uncomfortable feelings. But first, hey there. If you don't already know me, my name is Brian G. Murphy. I'm an activist, educator, and certified relationship coach, and I'm here to help you have healthier, more fulfilling relationships. So if you get emails from me, you already know that a few hours after I recorded last week's video about learning from your feelings, I got hit like a truck with some pretty uncomfortable feelings. I'm gonna share more about what I learned from that experience and how I figured out that those feelings didn't really come out of nowhere, but since that's a bit more personal, I wanna keep that just to email. So if you want to hear more, head on over to briangerald.com/hello to stay connected via email. Okay, so I made this nice and polished video about feelings, and then the messy reality of life and relationships hit me, and I had to deal with some pretty uncomfortable feelings. What did I do, and what might you do if you find yourself in that spot? Here are some things that have worked for me. The first thing is something that many of us learned in elementary school, and it can often be easier said than done, and that's to just sit still and breathe. I know for me it can be tempting to jump right into problem solving mode, but to just sit with myself and my thoughts for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, however long it takes to really get clear on how I'm feeling can be huge. It's not always easy for me to figure out exactly what I'm feeling, so sometimes I have to consult an actual list of feelings. I mentioned that in last week's video. If you don't already have it, you can get it from the link below, or head on over to briangerald.com/feelingslist. I put together a big old list of feelings, and sometimes I have to stare at this list of feelings and be like, do I feel excited? Do I feel agitated? Do I feel horny? Do I feel isolated? Do I feel lonely? What am I feeling? And looking at this big list of feelings can help me really get clear on that. So if you don't know what you're feeling, you're not alone. Or if you just know that I feel bad or jealous or angry, maybe there's a more specific feeling, and looking at a list of feelings would be helpful to you to figure out what it is you're feeling. Another tool that I use that I've definitely been doing a lot of over the past few days as I've been wrestling with these feelings is to journal. There's no right way or wrong way to journal. Just go grab a piece of paper or open up a Google Doc or Evernote or whatever it is you use to write, and just start writing. It can be for a minute or 10 minutes or an hour if you've got a lot to say. You can just free flow. You can go find a structured journal prompt and just get it out. I know for me it's really helpful to take all of these thoughts and feelings that are rattling around in my head and get them out of my head and onto paper, so I don't have to be carrying them around with me. The process of journaling helps me get some clarity on what it is that I'm thinking and what it is that I'm feeling, what it is that I'm wanting. I grew up evangelical Christian, and meditating was not something that I ever heard about, or if I did, it was something that other people did far away. But over the past 10 years or so, I've been getting into a practice of meditation, sometimes daily and sometimes very infrequently. But it's been helpful for me in my life overall, and in my relationships in particular, and in dealing with uncomfortable feelings even more specifically than that. I find that having this sort of formal structure of meditating can sometimes be easier to slip into than just sort of this general idea of sitting still or breathing, which if meditation is not your thing, sitting still and breathing, like I suggested in the first step, is still totally helpful. But having a formal structure can be helpful. It can also be helpful to practice meditating when things are not totally a mess. That way, when life starts to fall apart, you have the practice of doing that to fall back on. If you haven't meditated before, I will put some links in the comments below on ways you can get started, but it can be simple as just sitting down, closing your eyes, counting your breath in and your breath out, up to 7 or up to 10, and then just starting over for 30 seconds or for a minute or 3 minutes or 10 minutes. I usually do between like 5 and 12 minutes. The other day when I was like really in the depths of it, those feelings, after I sat and meditated and after I journaled for a little bit, I then went and played tennis. And so that's my next tip for you, is to just move your body in some way. That could be like a specific exercise, like lifting weights or going for a run or even jumping ropes. It could be playing a sport like tennis, soccer, basketball, like any sport that you enjoy. It could be dancing, either like a formal dance class or just like blasting some music in your living room and dancing around can get you sort of your body moving, your heart pumping. The act of dancing can sort of take you outside of whatever it is you're feeling for a little bit, but also help you connect to yourself in a really powerful way. You can also just go for a walk. It doesn't have to be this like big event to move your body. Just like go for a walk around the block or to the end of the driveway. Just a short walk to get outside and get moving. Or you could even do yoga or just some simple stretching to, again, get your body moving. I find that moving your body helps you not like turn off your feelings, but engage them in a different way. This next tip is total cliche self-care, and that's to just take a bath. I don't often do this. It's not one of my go-tos, and so if it doesn't resonate with you, set it aside, but maybe this will be at the top of your list. Fill up a bath, maybe you've got some bubbles, maybe you've got some essential oils, maybe you light a candle, maybe you don't, maybe you have a glass of wine in there also. But the hot water and the relaxing can just help you mellow out when you're sort of starting to feel overwhelmed with feelings. My last tip is last on the list because I think you should actually do it last after you've gone through 1 or 2 or more of these suggestions, and that is to read a book or watch a movie or a TV show. And I don't start with this because it can be easy to use TV or movies in particular, and sometimes even books, as just sort of a way to escape your feelings, to not think about them. You turn on the TV, you like eyes zoom in, and you just sort of zone out. And we don't want to be running away from our feelings. But sometimes you've sat and you breathed for a little bit, you've like done some intentional thinking, maybe you've journaled or you've meditated or you exercised, and still those thoughts are rattling around in your head and you're like, I've thought all that I can think about this today. Then maybe it's time to pick up a book or turn on the TV and just sort of like check out for a second. It is okay to not constantly be consumed by your feelings all the times. So if you've done all the processing you can do for the day or the morning or the evening, it is okay to turn to a bit of entertainment to unwind and find relief from those racing thoughts. You'll notice that I didn't include talk to the person who's making you feel bad on this list, or even talk to a trusted friend. And that was on purpose. Our culture teaches us that it's other people who make us feel bad and it's other people who are responsible for making us feel better. But we can't really control other people, and so I'm trying to focus on the one person I can control, which is myself. Now, sometimes someone else really does hurt us. Like if someone hits you, like they are in fact to blame. And that is true in other circumstances as well. There really might be someone who is in fact contributing to the uncomfortable feelings that you're feeling, and talking to them might be an important part of your process. I know that for me it is, but first I want to get really clear on how I'm feeling, what all the parts are that contributed to it, what my part was, what their part was, how it all fits together, what's in my head, what's reality, and I can't do that if I jump right into talking to them first. I also don't put talk to other people on this list for similar reasons. You know, if I talk to a friend, it's only natural that they're going to want to support me and have my back and take my side on things. And that might lead them to encourage or exaggerate any of the feelings that I might be feeling, or even sort of bring their own ideas of how I should be feeling into the mix. And so before I get their perspective on things, I want to get really clear on how it is I am actually feeling in myself by myself. Now, it can be super helpful to have an outside perspective, sort of reality check things for me, to say to me like, no, that did in fact happen, or like that's a normal response, or you're not making this up, right? That can be super critical, but I wanna start with myself first before moving on to talking to other people, and then eventually to the person who is sort of I'm having these feelings about. Definitely talking with others is a part of the process, but in the very beginning, I think it's important to do work on myself. What about you? When you're facing uncomfortable feelings, how do you cope? Let's talk about it in the comments. I will see you down there. Remember to subscribe for more videos on how to have healthier, more fulfilling relationships every Wednesday afternoon. I would love to hear from you, to know what's going on with you, so I can make videos and resources that are even more helpful. So head on over to briangerald.com/hello to drop a line. Let me know what's going on with you, or just say hi. See you soon.